I'm with my family in Ireland for my stepdaughter's spring breaks. We're in town for 9 days to see as much of the country as possible, and you better believe that we're going to find some time to play poker. I drive us 15 hours all around the southern half of the country to get the full experience. It's not that easy driving on the other side of the road, being on the other side of the car, and driving on the narrow, wet roads, but it's worth it to get to spend time in Dublin, Waterford, Dingle, and Galway. It's a memorable trip for the girls since it's their first trip to Europe. My son also has a blast, which he'll have to be reminded of later in life. This is my second time in Ireland, and I'll always remember it as the trip that I finally proposed to my now fiance Amber at the cliffs of Moher. We've been together for nearly 8 years. I've mostly referred to Amber as my wife in previous vlogs because it's nicer than calling her my baby mama, and I've always envisioned us being together forever. As much as she's helped contribute to the success that I've had, she's also been supportive through the downswings and the tougher moments in my life. I'm incredibly thankful for her and all that she does to take care of everyone in our household so that I can focus on playing and making videos. The original plan was to get married much sooner, but we took things slowly with the 2 girls in mind. Then when my dad died, we prioritized expanding the family and we put the idea of getting married on hold. Now my son's 2, it's a little calmer around the house, and we have more time to plan a nice wedding, the kind that Amber deserves. There have been so many highlights already, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime moment. I'm thankful to have it captured on video, as well as the random stranger's finger in the top right corner. It's time to grind. I arrive at JP Poker Club in Dublin on the very last night. A handful of viewers fly in from all over Europe, including England, Germany, and Philip here from Switzerland, who brings a thoughtful gift for my son. We take a seat to play 2-5 with the group who are all eager to get their hands on some Bradley Euros, but they're going to have to give it their best effort because a trip for 5 to Europe and a diamond ring on top is expensive. I'm going to be doing my best to make some money back. I'm in for 2,000 to start. Play begins at 321. Early on, we pick up ace-9 suited in the hijack. The straddles on. We're going to be playing. I raised to 30. Lucas is the viewer from Berlin. He's eager to join the mix with a call. The under-the-gun straddler is getting a discount. He's closing the action. He calls as well. We're going 3 ways to the flop in position. The dealer puts out ace-10 deuce with 2 diamonds. We've got top pair and a flush draw to go with it. We should be in incredible shape. The small blind and under the gun both check. When we've got everything, it's hard for the opponents to have much to call us with. We also don't really need protection since there are plenty of cards that'll help us improve. I put in a sneaky check back to disguise our hand strength, potentially induce a bluff, and if another diamond comes out, our check back may make it difficult for our opponents to put us on a flush. The turn is the 7 of hearts, putting a second flush draw on the board. After seeing everyone play passively on the flop, the small blind bets 50, possibly as a bluff or semi-bluff. The under the gun player is named James. He's a buddy of mine from Dublin. He folds. We're either behind or the small blind's bluffing. Either way, there's not much sense in raising. I call with one more opportunity to make a monster. It's down to heads up. The river is the 3 of diamonds, giving us the hidden nuts. After giving away a diamond previously on this trip, it's nice to get 5 here. What makes it even better is that the small blind continues firing for 125. Our check back on the flop must have thrown him off the scent that we had a flush draw. Everything's going according to plan. We just need to see if we can get paid a bit more. I raised to 425 with some blue and green chips. The small blind has seen enough videos to know that I'm capable of putting on some wild Hail Mary plays at the buzzer to try and steal pots, although this isn't one of those occasions. If the opponent doesn't have a flush, it'll be tough for us to get paid, but our line looks suspect enough. The small blind calls after deliberating for about 45 seconds. We show him that we'll be taking the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. He surprisingly flashes Jack 10 offsuit. He called our river raised light with second pair. Our check back on the flop clearly disoriented him, and it allowed us to likely make substantially more money than if we bet all 3 streets. It's a great way to begin the session. We're already up over 600 with several hours left to play. Shortly after, we pick up Jack 10 suited in the cutoff. The straddle's on once again. A player in middle position limps in for 10. Generally, when we're first or second in the pot, I raised it up, but I've heard limpin' is pimpin'. I call the 10 with a hand that does decent multi-way since a lot of the value with this combo comes from making straights and flushes, and if we have more opponents to pay us off when we make a big hand, that's not a bad thing. The small blind calls, the big blind calls. The straddler is going to try to ruin the party. He raises to 75. Maybe he's got a premium, or maybe he's trying to punish the limpers with the weaker holding. The middle position player folds. We had a hand that I was considering raising with anyway. I didn't limp to fold to a raise. I call for 65 more. The small blind isn't here to be a bystander. He's here to get in on the action. He calls. The big blind is the player who just flew in from Berlin, and boy are his arms tired. He's going to sit this one out. He folds. 3 of us still have a shot at winning. We're in position. The flop comes king 8 deuce with 2 clubs. We've got another flush draw and backdoor straight draw to go with it. Small blind checks. The king high flop favors the pre-flop raiser. He makes a small bet at 85. I'm more than happy with that price. I verbally announce a call. We might only be up against an ace high type of combo. The small blind folds before my chips hit the felt. It's down to heads up. For the record, I'm totally against animal cruelty, yet right now, I'd be okay smashing some puppy feet. The turn is the 10 of spades, giving us a pair to go along with our flush draw. We take the lead against the ace high hands the under the gun player might have. In general, another Broadway card will be better for the opponent, although a 10 is pretty much the worst Broadway card for him since he isn't likely to have king 10 or ace 10 that often when he raises out of the straddle pre-flop. He might just check those and take a flop, but he goes large on the turn with a bet of 400 to continue representing minimally top pair. This big bet feels more like a bluff, and he's trying to muscle me out. We've either got the lead, or we have plenty of good rivers that we can hit. I call. I don't love the situation we're in because it's possible we're up against a big hand, but the opponent might have made it smaller if he had a set, pocket aces, ace king, or another made hand. The river's the ace of spades. It's a terrible card because a huge chunk of combos the opponent might have been bluffing with that we were beating just took the lead in a large pot. Under the gun checks, which makes me even more suspicious that he was bluffing previously, and he now has top pair that has a decent amount of value that he wants to get to showdown cheaply with. If he had 2 pair or better, he'd probably bet again. The check screams 1 pair. He's doing this with plans of calling a bet. I'm not going to turn my hand into a bluff. I concede.
Whatever bad ace you have is good.
Yeah. The opponent has ace-queen offsuit with the ace of clubs. He got there on the river like I feared. If another club had come out, he might have blasted away in order to represent the ace-high flush that he had the blocker for. Instead, I lose all the session's profit with 1 unlucky river. At least we captured it on video.
Congratulations, you have made the bluff.
I switch tables where we pick up 8-7 suited in middle position. The under the gun player raises to 15. Typically, I'd prefer to be in later position to enter the pot with these cards, but I stretch out the range and call. How much trouble can we really get into? The button, small blind, and big blind all call. We're going 5 ways to the flop. It comes 10-8 deuce rainbow. We've got middle pair and some backdoor draws. Small blind and big blind check. Often in smaller stakes games, you'll see the initial pre-flop raiser feel obligated to bet regardless of how many opponents they have and regardless of whether or not they've connected with the flop. Under the gun continues firing for 45. There are plenty of cards that'll give us at least some kind of draw to go along with our second pair. I call to minimally see one more street. 1 by 1, the button, small blind, and big blind fold like I hoped would be the case. We're heads up in position. The turn is the 6 of diamonds, giving us a gutter to go along with our pair. It's apparently a scary card for our opponent. He slows way down and checks. Our pair of 8s could be best if we're up against queen jack type of combos, or perhaps just ace high. I bet 60 to take control of the pot, potentially fold out some equity, or charge our opponent if we happen to be ahead and he wants to make it to the river. Under the gun's okay with the listing price. He calls. If we improve, I'll bet again. If not, I'll likely check back the river. The dealer puts out the ace of spades. We're downgraded to 3rd pair. I don't plan on betting. We at least beat some missed straight and missed diamond draws. After relinquishing the betting lead to us on the previous street, the opponent's going to rep a river top pair or better with a somewhat small bet of 75. Maybe he's got something like king 10 or queen 10, and this is sort of a blocker bet. If he gets raised, he'll potentially fold. I'm not inclined to want to call and take our 3rd pair to showdown. We've got removal to the straight, a set of 8s, and 2 pair combos. I turn our hand into a bluff by raising to 300. Ideally, under the gun will put us on at least ace 10, and he'll let go anything worse, even missed flush draw combos containing an ace. Nope. Under the gun snap calls. I get caught trying to commit theft in a different country, not a good spot to be in. The opponent reveals that he drilled the river, converting his pocket aces into a set. His lead on the last street makes a lot more sense now. My failed river raise bluff in this hand makes Lucas's call earlier with Jack 10 offsuit all of a sudden look a lot better. You're welcome, Lucas. Almost an hour later, we're dealt pocket kings in the big blind with the straddle on. 5 players limp in for 10. That's not acceptable. We're going to raise, and we need to make it a lot because we don't want to play kings multi-way out of position. I raise to 100. It's possible everyone's going to fold, and that's not the worst result. Perhaps after seeing me bluff with 8-7, the cutoff isn't giving us as much credit for a premium. He calls for 90 more. He's the only one. We get our wish to be heads up. It's a large pot. The flop comes Queen 10-7 with 2 spades. We've got an overpair and some backdoor draws. It's not a terrible flop for us, although it's tough to pinpoint exactly what the cutoff has. The plan is to keep pushing the action until I get raised. I bet 100 again. The opponent immediately goes to his stack to grab more than calling chips. Ultimately, he assembles a couple blue and 1 green chip while raising tiny to 225. Well, it didn't take long for our plan to end to push the action. I'm not folding though. I call for only 125 more, but I could already be drawing dead to 2 outs or run a runner. I'm flying completely blind with a lot in the middle. The turn is the deuce of spades, which gives us the king high flush draw, but it's very possible the opponent has 2 pair, a set, or was semi-bluffing with a flush draw that just improved to potentially have me drawing dead. I check. A check back would make me feel infinitely better about the situation. Instead, the opponent fires 300 into the middle. Feels like I'm behind and I'm getting milked. The cutoff only has 287 remaining in the stack. Part of me wants to rip the band-aid off and shove to get the all-in part over with, but in the off chance the opponent has air, we might as well give him the opportunity to rip it on the river. I call again. I've got a sneaking suspicion that we're about to double someone up, but the opponent seems like a nice guy. He gave me a souvenir from one of the local Irish football clubs before the poker began. He deserves it. The river's the 8 of diamonds, which connects with the board. We're now losing to Jack 9 and a few other combos the opponent might have limp called 100 with pre-flop. I check. Maybe the opponent will check back and show up with a hand like ace-queen. No, no, no. He keeps his foot pressed to the floor on the right side of the car and on the left side of the road with a shove for 287 total. I'm not quite sure how we're beat, but it's hard to imagine that the cutoff is tripling off with anything that we're ahead of when the all-in is so small in relation to the size of the pot. I'm not excited, but with the price we're getting, I can't let go.
Doesn't seem great, but you... Thank you.
Wow.
The opponent shows that he triple barrel bluffed with ace-6 offsuit and no spade. I know what you're thinking. Cooler. Not much he could have done there. He pulled a Mike McDermott, just trying to outplay the guy, firing away with no pair and no draw at any point to put us to the ultimate test. We win a big all-in with Cowboys to be back in black for the evening. I appreciate the player making a move to add to the excitement of the video. Sure, he didn't have a pair, but he showed up today carrying around a massive set on him, and he's a complete gentleman taking the loss in stride as he comes over to get a photo taken while the chips get pushed our direction. This is a nice change of pace for me since usually I double them up first and then they ask for a photo. I'm a few Guinnesses deep when we pick up King 7 suited in the rare under the gun +2 triple straddle. The opponent on our right asked if I'd put out the 40 if he double straddled the 20. I accepted the challenge. Under the gun +1 limps in for 20 more, and initially it looks like he only started out with 400 or so, which is just 10 times the straddle amount. King 7 suited is probably better than what our neighbor limped in with, and there's plenty already in the middle. I'm okay gambling for 400. I announced that I'm all in, so we get a shot of the beautiful Irish ceiling. It'd be a shame if we played a whole session in another country and didn't get a view of any ceilings. I slide a stack in, and I'm glad that I don't get snap called. This is about the time when I realized the opponent has some blue €100 chips that I didn't see before I jammed, and my all-in is actually for 700 effective. This is a lot more than I intended to rip it in for, and we're not out of the woods because the opponent still has cards and appears to have a decision. I'm relieved to see that he might not have much after all. He folds.
I didn't know you had blues. I'm glad that you did it again.
Yeah.
Like 700? Jesus. I probably had the best hand, but...
Jack high.
Here we're dealt King Jack 8-6-6 in the big blind during a 5-card bomb pot hand. All 7 of us put in 15 each, and we go straight to the flop. The dealer puts out 8-6-5 with 2 hearts. We've got middle set, but with 6 opponents that have 5 cards each. Someone almost definitely has a straight or set of 8s, potentially even with a flush draw. This is slightly different from a normal bomb pot. In this one, we can either call a bet of 100 and see the run out, or we can fold. Small blind calls the 100. I already don't like the spot that we're in. I like it even less that we're holding an 8, which reduces the likelihood of us hitting a full house to beat a straight or flush. I make a disciplined laydown, but I'm curious to see how this one's going to play out, so I bring the camera up to get a better view of the action. Under the gun calls, the hijack calls, the cutoff also calls, 4 players are in. This is going to be painful if our folded set is good enough to scoop. There's no more betting. The turn is the 10 of clubs. It's no help to the combo that we folded. It actually hurts because even more draws are present. The river is the king of clubs, giving us another pair that's not beneficial since we'd have to use exactly 2 cards from our hand and exactly 3 from the board to make the best 5-card hand. The small blind is first to show that he only has 2 pair with 10-8 of diamonds. Please don't let that be the winner. Under the gun reveals 7-4 for the flopped low end of the straight with the king high flush draw as backup. We can relax again because at no point were we ahead. Cutoff shows the winner with 9-7. He had the nuts from the start and kept them like a selfish squirrel. As I suspected, we were crushed and didn't have many outs. I escaped, losing the minimum. It's not that often that I'm folding a set, but it felt like the right time to do it. Now we're dealt pocket 8s in the big blind with the under the gun straddle on. Irish legend Jason Tompkins is in the straddle. We can mix between limping or raising. I raised a 40 with a stronger than average hand. Under the gun is going to try to melt our snowmen. He calls for 30 more. We're heads up out of position against what's probably the toughest competitor we'll face today. The flop comes Jack 7 rainbow. It's not too bad for us. I actually like that the top card is paired because it makes it less likely that the opponent's holding a jack. There's a high probability our hand is best and we could use some protection. I downbet to 25. Even hands with no pairs may feel obligated to call if they've got overs to our 8. Under the gun calls. Hopefully he's only got a 7 or a smaller pocket pair that's drawing slim. The turn is the deuce of hearts. It's a total blank other than the fact that there's a flush draw present. I'd expect our opponent to call our small flop bet with backdoor hearts. We need to charge those flush draw combos as well as any other combo we're beating since we're susceptible to being downgraded. I go larger with a bet of 100. I don't anticipate being able to get much value on the river unless a miracle 8 comes, so I'm trying to get as much as I can on this street while I sense that we're best. Our opponent is in no hurry to make a decision. He's going to ponder this one over a bit. After 25 seconds, he calls. I'm getting a little concerned that he's trapping, but it still feels more like he thinks I might be bluffing. He might not give us credit as someone who'd go for value with pocket 8s on the turn since a lot of others aren't very comfortable doing it and they'll pure check with pairs below the top card, but checking too much is a mistake. The river's the 4 of clubs, which is another complete brick. The flush draw misses, straight draws miss, and the only new hand that takes the lead against us is pocket 4s. I was planning to go into check call mode on a lot of rivers. That's not the case with this one. I bet 150 to get a 3rd street of value against a talented thinking player. So often in blind versus blind hands, players will open with a wide range, then triple barrel to try and steal the pot with nothing, which makes it more likely that we'll be able to get called lighter, particularly from a better player who understands the dynamics, as backwards as that sounds. Better players know that they need to call at the proper frequencies to ensure that they don't get run over. After thinking for a full minute, the opponent finds the call. We show our crazy 8s. It's the winner. The opponent mucks face down. He might have had a 7, a baby pocket pair, or an ace, or even king high combo. It's not the largest pot that we've won of the night, but it's near the top of the list for my favorites so far because we made the most out of a medium strength hand against a tough opponent. In this one, we look down at ace 10 offsuit on the button. Under the gun raises to 12. Our offsuit ace isn't all that great against an early position open, but I make a loose call to see a flop in position. Small blind and big blind both call. We're going 4 ways to the flop. The dealer puts out ace 3 rainbow. We've got trips and multiple opponents. It checks to us. We've either got the best hand by a very wide margin or I'm drawing dead to 3 outs. When that's the case, we don't need to go large. I make a small bet of 15 to try and get a crying call out of someone with a medium pocket pair or 2 high cards that have backdoor draws like king queen of hearts, and I'm happy to say a little prayer for them that they make Broadway or a backdoor full house. Small blind calls, the big blind folds. Under the gun already had his mind made up. He calls. 3 of us are still in. It seems like we're ahead, but I can't be certain. The turn is the 4 of spades, putting a flush draw on the board and completing the wheel, but neither opponent's going to have 5 deuce, so I'm not concerned about it. It checks to us again. I mostly put the small blind on a medium pair and under the gun on a higher pocket pair like kings, queens, or jacks. I target those holdings with a slightly larger bet of 50. Small blind was probably just trying to keep us honest with his call on the prior street and really didn't like the under the gun overcalled behind him. He folds. Under the gun quickly reaches for green chips and calls. If he had trips or better, he'd have considered raising. The quick call is done with an easy decision, making my belief even stronger that he's got some sort of high pocket pair rather than a full house or ace king or ace queen. It's down to heads up. The river is the jack of diamonds. I definitely don't want to lose to jiggities, but under the gun checks immediately. If he hit a boat on the river, I'd honestly just be happy he's still alive. Also, if he made a full house with pocket jacks just now or ace jack, I'd expect for him to pause to at least contemplate throwing out a bet to ensure that I don't check behind. My read is that it's safe to go for value again because I've ruled out all the hands that beat us. I make a small bet of 75 so the opponent feels like a giant pansy if he folds pocket kings or queens, even though I'm pretty much never bluffing in this situation. Under the gun can't help himself. He calls to donate to the charity for lanky white guys. We show the trips. The opponent mucks his cards face down initially, but he's nice enough to show for the vlog that we outflopped him as he reveals that he called us down with pocket tens. He was drawing dead on the flop unless he managed to hit runner, 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 which is difficult to accomplish. I don't blame the under the gun player. It's tough to let go of Broadway pairs. As for us, things have been going smoothly since I got caught bluffing with 8-7. We're currently up several hundred. I venture over to the 1-2 table where we pick up Queen Jack offsuit under the gun +1. Ordinarily I'd fold from this position, but there's some viewers at the table and I want to let them have a free shot at winning some money off of me. I raise a 6, wider than I probably should, although it's less likely at lower stakes that I'll get 3-bet light, and I'm confident in my ability to navigate post-flop. Middle position, the hijack, button, and big blind all call. It comes Queen Jack 5 with 2 diamonds. We hit top 2 pair and have 4 opponents on a connected flop. The big blind checks. With 3 players behind us, I get sneaky and check with intentions of putting in a raise if the opportunity presents itself. The middle position player checks. The hijack must have a piece of some sort. He makes a small bet of 10. I'm not upset about it. The button folds. The big blind thinks that he's getting a good price. He calls. What the big blind doesn't know is that with gas prices going up, everything's going to be a lot more expensive. I raise a 65 only because of the situation in Iran. The middle position player folds. The hijack won't have much left in his stack if he calls. Rather than wait until the turn, he re-raises all in for 116 total. If he happens to have a set of 5s, he'll be in good shape. Otherwise, he probably won't like what he sees when we flip our cards over. The big blind folds. We've got an easy decision. I call. I figure there's a strong possibility that we'll have to fade diamonds, high cards, or both. The hijack agrees to table the hand so that we have a fun sweat. We show our top 2 and he shows Queen 8 of clubs. He's drawn dead to runner, runner 8 or runner, runner straight. It's about the best case scenario for us. We've got a huge lead. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, allowing a glimmer of hope to creep in for the hijack. If a 10 comes, the opponent will win everything in the middle. We only need to fade 4 outs. Surely the dealer won't do that to us, right? The opponent improves, but only to a worse 2 pair. The river 8 doesn't hurt us. The big blind says that he would have turned a straight flush draw and river to straight if he stayed in. I'm glad that I checked initially and went for the raise, otherwise more players might have stayed in and we would have lost. Instead, we stack a table mate to once again be at the high point of the session. We're up over $600 or euros. To make this trip even cooler, a player at the table named Douglas gives me an authentic coronation medal. He was given 2 of them due to a unique situation with his career in the military and is kind enough to let me have 1 of them. We're 5 hours into the session when we look down at Queen 10 suited in middle position. The player on our right raises to 6. With our hand, we can call or 3-bet. I call to see a flop. A couple others would like to come along. Small blind and big blind call. 4 of us advance to the next round and we're in position. The flop comes 10-9 deuce with 2 diamonds. We've got top pair, a flush draw, and a backdoor straight draw with 1 over. Small blind and big blind check. The initial pre-flop raiser is going to rep top pair or better. He bets 12. It's a little scary that he's betting into 3 opponents. I'm not sure we can rely on our pair of 10s to win showdown, but there are a number of ways we can improve. I call to see if we can do just that. Small blind also calls. She could be on a draw of some sort. She had 2 pair better. I imagine she'd put in the check raise right now since the board's so coordinated and there are multiple players that she has to worry about. The big blind folds. 3 of us are still in. The turn is the 3 of clubs. It should mostly be a blank, although there's a second flush draw on the board now. Small blind checks. Under the gun +2 isn't as confident in what he's got. He checks. It's feeling more like our pair of 10s is currently best. I want to charge hands like King Jack, King Queen, 8-7, Jack 10, as well as flush draws. I bet 50 for value. If we get called, we can check back river if we don't improve. If we hit a flush, 2 pair of trips, we'll build a bigger pot for ourselves and maybe we can go for value once more. Out of nowhere, the small blind slides in a check raise to 163. She only has 313 total. I'm not sure what she's even saying that she has. I ruled out her having 2 pair better on the flop because she would have check raised at that point. I don't see how she could have hit 2 pair or a set when a 3 comes out on the turn that doesn't connect with the board. The only thing that really makes sense is that maybe she has a hand like King Jack or Queen Jack of clubs, just picked up a flush draw to go along with our straight draw, and she's now turning it into a semi-bluff. The initial pre-flop raiser folds, our pair of 10s is ahead of all the huge combo draws, and in the off chance that we're somehow behind, we can still hit a diamond. I want to get as much money in as possible against the drawing hands that we're beating. I re-raised all in for 313 effective. The small blind is more content than I'd prefer. She calls quickly. Maybe I misinterpreted her hand strength and we're going to need some help. Either way, I'd like to see the ace of diamonds come out.
You want to go once or twice?
It's up to you.
I always go twice. I think I'm ahead at the minute.
Okay, sure, we can go twice.
I have a set.
Yes, that's good. That's you. That's you too. Nice hand, nice hand. The opponent wrecks my world, flopping a set with pocket 9s. That combo wasn't even on my radar, given how it was played. Small blind perfectly sets the trap that I fall right into. She's rewarded with a double up. I'm not able to hit a diamond on either river. I lose several hundred as a significant portion of my profit gets vaporized. Nearly a half hour later, we're dealt ace-queen offsuit under the gun. I raised a 6. The hijack calls. My friend James has joined us at the 1-2 table after we played with him earlier in 2-5. Throughout today's session, he's made it clear to me that he's willing to go way out of his way to make the vlog. He 3-bets at 20, perhaps to accomplish that goal. The button cold calls. I can't take James' 3-bet seriously, knowing what I know about him, and if the button had better than ace-queen, he would have 4-bet. We're most likely ahead, or we're flipping. I don't want to play out of position, multi-way in a large pot with ace-queen, and I'm not folding either. I 4-bet to 105 with the preference of taking this one down pre-flop. The hijack, who whoops me with her set, folds. The action's back on James in the cutoff. He's not going down as easily as I anticipated. He calls for 85 more, indicating that he has a real hand. The button folds. It's down to heads up with my buddy in what's become a large pot for a 1-2 game. The flop comes Jack 10-5 with 2 spades. All we've got is a gutter with 2 overs, and this is a flop that I expect our opponent to hit a lot of the time when he only flats our 4-bet. He might have sets of jacks or 10s. He could have pocket queens, or ace-jack, ace-queen, or ace-king as well. I check. We're not going to get a free card to see if we can hit Broadway. The cutoff bet's 135. I wouldn't blame anyone for folding when the opponent's going to have so many strong combos in his range. We only have 3 clean outs, but we started the hand with over 1,000 big blinds effective. There's plenty in the middle, and if we get lucky, we might be able to stack the opponent for a lot more. I call one time to see if we can drill an offsuit king. The turn is the 3 of diamonds. It couldn't be a bigger brick. I check. James is very focused as he considers his options. Ultimately, he bets 325. We've got no choice anymore. I fold immediately. I did well to build up a nice stack in 2-5, but now I'm giving it back towards the end in some large 1-2 pots. I'm currently stuck 150. Next we pick up Queen Jack offsuit in middle position with the straddle on. I raised to 15. The hijack button, small blind, and big blind all call. We're going 3 million ways to the flop. It comes Jack 10-5 with 2 diamonds. We've got top pair as well as a backdoor straight draw. Small blind and big blind check. I'm torn between checking to keep the pot small and betting to narrow down the field. I choose the option that's more likely to get me unstuck, betting 40. Winning or getting it down to heads up are the outcomes that we're looking for. The hijack folds. The button doesn't have a clear option that he likes. He thinks it over for a while, then also folds. The small blind doesn't particularly want to give in, but she reluctantly folds. We've gotten through the majority of our opponents. Only James is left in the big blind. He obviously can't let me win with a single bet post-flop. He calls. We're heads up like we wanted. The turn is the deuce of clubs. It shouldn't change anything. The big blind checks. I wasn't necessarily planning to fire multiple bullets if we got called, but since the big blind is the one who called our flop bet, rather than let's say the hijack or button, this call isn't as scary and doesn't carry as much weight because he called knowing he only had to beat me rather than multiple other players. We'll have way more combos that we're beating, including all sorts of draws. I don't want to check on this street and let my opponent have an opportunity to improve for free, or even if he has a draw that ends up missing, we wouldn't be able to get more value from him on the river, so we need to go for it now. I bet 150 to extract as much as I can before a scare card comes out like a king or diamond. No one ever believes me, especially not in Ireland. The big blind calls. I'll probably check back nearly every river. The dealer puts out the king of diamonds. It's possibly the worst card in the deck because the flush draw gets there, straights get there, and an overcard come out, so even hands like King Queen steal the lead from us. The big blind checks. I tried to get as much value as I could on the previous street. We may not be ahead anymore, so I'm sticking with the plan to get to showdown. I check back. James says that a jack is really only what he's got. I like hearing that. It sounds like his kicker won't play. We show our jack with a kicker that does play. James shows that his other card is a 3, as he does his best impression of a sad face emoji. He's a good guy who brings out a lot of action and a lot of fun to any table he's playing. I haven't made a ton of extremely strong hands this session, but I've done my best to get as much as I can out of the one pair type of holdings. It's occasionally uncomfortable betting multiple streets or betting into multiple players with a hand that doesn't do well if it gets check raised. Luckily, it works out well for us this time. With this win, I'm barely stuck. A half hour later, I rack up a small €251 loss. Towards the end, I tried to bluff Douglas to get all the way out of the hole and it put me slightly deeper in debt. It's the least I could do to repay him for the coronation medal though. Playing poker was the last thing on my to-do list in Ireland. I met a ton of great people who were incredibly welcoming and fun to be around. Although I don't book a win, the damage is minimal. I have a flight in the morning. I'll be leaving the country with a bit less than I came in with, but I've gained a fiance, and the memories that the rest of my family and I have from Ireland will last a long time. I look forward to watching this episode back several years down the road to relive it. That's it for this one, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. I had a great time in Ireland, and thanks to JP Poker Club and everybody who came out to spend time playing poker. It was a blast. And if you are a new viewer, or maybe you're an older viewer and you just haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and hit the like buttons too if you haven't yet. This kind of stuff, as much as I don't really like saying it, it actually does help the channel out because YouTube will push my content out to more and more people if there's more engagement. Don't forget to join Gold using my name, Brad. That way you get some extra chips when you make your first purchase. I have more information down below in the description box. The Crown Series is going on right now, and it's an awesome time to be playing. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're staying safe. Good luck with the tables, and I'll see you next time. We're in front of the Bellagio, racing our date.
Wait,
There's Flo.
Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
I just wanted you to tell I love you, happy birthday, XOXO.
I said, Georgia, Georgia,
About to play the tag team event. Kind of needed an enforcer, so this is the partner that I have today.
Other arms reach out to me. Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in the peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. I said, Georgia,
Not a good idea,
Georgia, no peace I find, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Other arms reach out to me.
Thank Brad.
Other eyes smile tenderly. Still in peaceful dreams I see, the road leads back to you. Georgia. No peace I find. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. I said just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
I love our family. Thank you for everything you take care of us. I want to take care of you for the rest of our lives. Will you care? Here, buddy, we gotta put this on mommy's hand real quick. Can we put it on? We got to, okay?
Yeah!